Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining Archangel Alts. We are here to do a live market watch for you, doing a cryptocurrency analysis live on the Binance Exchange. So I've been going through these different coins, and it's just amazing how the more things change, the more they stay the same. So, Morgan Freeman here, the free man leading you out of the darkness into the light through the cryptocurrency revolution. Mass adoption equals liquidity. Liquidity equals trading on a legitimate exchange. We choose Binance. Here we are. So obviously I want to come here and start with Bitcoin first. Is it going to show off for us and jump right back to 4,000? All right, looks like we're all good. I want to make sure that I'm set up correctly. Yep. Binance client, you can hear me. Mute is off. So we climbed up to 4,000 in this range, and that was kind of coming from a 39.87 up to 4,007. And we're looking at exactly what we were talking about yesterday. Now, you know, the cycle is a little bit different each time, but it's absolutely something not to overlook because it continuously shows us that it's doing the same thing. So I want to help you guys to cut through the noise out there. A lot of people interpret things differently because they're not exactly certain exactly how this stuff works. And it's obviously some element of it is always going to be a little bit to a mystery outside of anybody that is the whale in the room, so to speak. So we look here at our 24-hour volume, and then we also watch to see whether that is averaging up or down, because, you know, we're only dealing with the current hour in addition to the fact that we want to know what's been happening. So we had come up to about $140 million 24-hour volume for a while there, and things were getting a little bit crazy, but we also saw that a lot of our volume, which you can see over here in the list to this side, I've got a favorites list. Just kind of look at a cross-section of what the volume is doing right now. These amounts were starting to thin out pretty low. Our 8,000 and 9,000 BTC 24-hour volume, Ethereum was starting to thin out to like 5,000, 4,000 BTC 24-hour volume. And the main thing is not so much about whether that many trades is actually taking place in that time, but that the trend, when it goes up a certain amount or when it comes down a certain amount, it tends to have an effect on whether you can get in and out of trades effectively, and whether those opportunities are kind of thinning out, narrowing out. Not kind of, absolutely, literally like. So the fact that we are down from 140 million, we were watching it in the 80 million range, and it was very surprising. It was able to continue a bit of an uptrend while losing volume, but that has now come down another $10 million just recently. We can see there's actually a little bit of spiking happening here, but still not enough for it to maintain this trend forever. Okay, now technically there is enough trading going on to where it could go up a couple of dollars and come down 30 cents, go up a couple of dollars, come down 50 cents, and keep thinning out. But I don't know if I've ever seen it thin out below 50 million before. So 69 is about as shallow as that volume gets. And right now we're at $69,461,000 measured in USDT Tether. And I got to put something out there for you guys, because I really need for you to understand. Listen, you know, if you have biases against certain things, you're going to believe some of the stuff that's out there that, I'm sorry, is just not based in fact. So, you know, listen, I have absolutely nothing to gain, nothing to offer you for standing up for Tether, being for or against it. It is what it is. I believe Bitfinex is the one. Every single time I go and I check it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I know I had it right. And then I'm uncertain because there's a BitMEX, Bittrex, Bitfinex. All these things just sound so much the same to me. But I believe Bitfinex is the one that created Tether so that there would be a coin-based fiat. You know, basically you have something that is pegged to the dollar. And then, I mean, technically, a coin can exist being pegged to the dollar without actually backing its value in anything. But you'd have to put it in a very unique category in order for it not to eventually have some problems with the SEC or something else. Well, they do back it with the dollar. And in order to do so, you don't actually have to have a bank account with X number of Tether, you know, $2 equivalents, but they chose to set it up that way anyway. And they were subpoenaed to give an audit, and they did so, and they proved that they had it. Many months after that was laid to rest, people continued to circulate the false claims that they did not have it backed up when you can clearly see that they did. And at some point in time, just recently, they updated their website to explain that, we can choose to back our Tether in literal dollars, or we can do it with any combination of fiat and tangible assets that we so choose, which they have the perfect right to do such a thing. So anyway, I noticed some extremely non-story stories circulating out there, and I just want you to understand that you're really not helping anybody by coming down hard on Tether, trying to pick a winner with USDC or USDS or TUSD or PAX or the myriad of others that are going to come down the chain. What you need to understand is the issuance of stablecoins is the easy way out to bring fiat, which you're running away from, into the crypto ecosystem. So it serves a purpose to have something pegged to the dollar that if you want to trade Bitcoin back and forth between something solid and steady, you can do that. It's really best for swing trading because Bitcoin is not guaranteed to do 100 back and forth every single day. In fact, if you look right here, look at this 24-hour high and low. If this is accurate, look at what it's saying the 24-hour change is. Less than 0.5%. So if you're extremely good at nailing exactly the lowest low and the highest high, then you could get 0.2% above your Binance fees. So that right around does not sound like an incentive to need that backing, but it's a really good thing to have. You can use to trade against other coins too. You can see ADA, because it's done extremely well against Bitcoin, it's done exactly the same well with trading against Trust USD, I believe. And about the same, almost identically the same with USDT. But I want you to notice here, ADA has traded against Tether more than $33 million. Bitcoin almost $70 million. ADA against TUSD, the next runner up there, $1.4 million. So would you rather judge the volume, the daily volume of ADA on the 33 million or the 1.4 million? This is more accurate. And I'm not saying that I want there not to be any other things. I think it's great to have some choices. I just think that once it gets diluted, you start getting a false sense of reality. And people, for some reason, really want to harp on that whole crazy non-story story about Tether. Trust me, if they were dodging stuff, they would not be able to get away with it. Okay? XMRG, Mt. Gox, what else should I say? Bitcoin. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, the whole point of this is that Binance, in fact, something just recently came out where people are talking about, there's all this volume stuffing, doing wash trades on lots of the less legitimate exchanges. So I went and went digging to try to find accurate information. And of course, there it is. Binance is in the top 3 exchanges that do not wash trade. They are not fudging their volume. So if you believe me about anything that I've said for this stuff for our group, please trust me when I say this. I'm not benefiting anything from, standing in the defense of Tether or whatever. But watching this day in, day out, every single day, the volume looks accurate to the trades. The trades feel like a good combination of normal people trading with bots and institutions mixed in. But every once in a while, there are those pumps, and it takes individuals with millions of dollars doing legitimately what they are allowed to do. They're legitimately saying, hey, I want to, buy a whole bunch of this, and other people are going to buy in, and that'll be good for me. And I want to sell off a whole bunch of this, and that's going to be good for my short positions, and other people will fall in with that too. So, and you can actually artificially short using TUSD against BTC. So it's almost like, binary trading, just when Bitcoin is high, sell to that, and when the dollar is high, sell to that, and wash back and forth. But our main purpose here is to give you a gauge of what the greater market is doing. And the best way to do that is to use a legitimate exchange. And oh, yes, it's centralized. But listen, Binance is not a government. In fact, they have found what is considered to be the most neutral way to run their company from Malta, so that they are not held to governing that causes them problems. So I hope that CZ always remains the kind of businessman that he is right now. I hope that the Binance Exchange remains to be the kind of exchange that it has been. And it looks like there's going to be some good things coming down the road. They're doing like an incubator for helping support good projects that prove themselves, a launch pad for that, doing fundraising. They do giveaways and all sorts of things that are supportive of the community. I follow their tweets on Twitter, and they seem to have good things to say there. And what else? There's one other thing. Yeah, just understanding that, this is not an evil kind of centralization, guys. People warn about the security issues and privacy issues and hacks and all this kind of stuff. And the less legitimate, the more scammy, spammy an exchange appears to be, sure, the more that you have to worry about that kind of thing. There is technically no perfectly safe way to store anything. But I personally have been able to do this for over a year without any problems. There have been a couple of technical glitches here and there, and they've almost always been perfectly recovered within a very short period of time. I've had more problems with PayPal and my bank account in numerous different ways than anything that we dealt with on Binance. So hopefully they will always remain to that standard. I know that, all of this has a high risk element to it, but, the general sentiment out there is that if it's not decentralized, you can't trust it. And I think I would rather have somebody whose entire reputation in the billions of dollars relies on getting this right, privacy and security. So $4,000 Bitcoin propped up by only $60 million 24-hour volume measured by Tether on the Binance Exchange. We technically would like to see this get to a steady $500 million 24-hour volume in Bitcoin, meaning that at least 40% of that or so is trailing into the altcoins, where we would see the kind of movement that it takes for a truly healthy market. So check, oh my goodness, this out. So we're going to try to get back into our routine of trading. I want to tell you that there's not many things quite as challenging as guessing where the top is going to be when there's such a strong up, like what's happening with Raven. So we did, fortunately, get in another trustworthy position. Don't give me none of that. Say, get away with me, number of the beast. So it has more than doubled now. More than doubled just in a week. Unbelievable. So this is yet another coin that has outdone its initial spike since being listed. This is unbelievable, unprecedented stuff in the Bitcoin marketplace. People are seemingly a little bit sleepy and not quite fully plugged in to just how unbelievable things are. But it looks like the trend is not over yet. So I am, I don't want to say I'm anxious, but I am absolutely enthusiastic to get jumping back into trading. These have been incredible. I spent an entire day between doing, some work on the website and other pages and getting our keywords set up and improving things on Twitter, watching the market. And every single time I blinked, I missed another cycle. And it was so frustrating. It was very, very, very difficult to get in. So the last two positions, one time in our browser and one time in our client, I was able to get into Raven in 2 different times. The last one we did what was a full Bitcoin trade. So that felt good. Still, if I can get into a place where we're just locked in on this 24/7, it's going to be awesome. We'll do a lot more live trading with our private group. So we're going to keep those webinars going. It's been really, really nice. Please go and sign up. Even if you're a member, just go through the process to make sure that we have you in our queue for the webinars so that you can come and join us. We want to answer any of your questions afterwards. It's really, really fun. We like stuff and stuff like this. So good deal. So HC has been having some spiking. In general, it's actually kind of coming around to its average now. Bring this around here. It's got 777 BTC 24-hour volume. I would be careful of anything really much higher than where it is right now. I don't know where it's headed. Nobody does. But if we look at the analysis, I can give you a prediction. It looks to me like we've done a classic Principle of thirds, boom, 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 then a change, new spike, down, then a change. So it's fairly likely that somewhere in the 37,000 range, so somewhere not really higher than 37.3, I don't think that I would trust being as high as it is right now. Might be a safe place to go in, but it is higher than average. If it starts to fall around the 3,500 range, wait before going back in, okay? Seriously, guys. NAS, kind of the same thing going on here. It looks like it's tapering out a little bit. I would trust it not too much higher than, 23,000. I don't think that I would go as high as where it is right now. Wait, test it a couple of times, because, I mean, you'll see. Oh, this is so crazy. See, this is what happens when BTC hits that $69 million range. It's just, it's lower than what it should be able to maintain there, but as long as it maintains this value, it's gonna create more and more of those crazy pops that are going on. So crazy pops, it's the brand new sugary snack. ADA, okay, so I mean it's losing a little bit of its luster. We have I think a single position in the browser that is set high. It was an early position. Let me see. We're really going through our hodls, reducing stuff. So yeah, gosh, I mean even 2,000 isn't really, it's probably somewhere in here. So we're pretty happy to see it starting to do this up here. I'm telling you people that there's more and more little signs here and there of, dare I say, that beginning signs of a bull run. We thought that it was going to happen before the hard fork thing happened in mid-November, and that just wasn't the case at the time. Tron's coming up a tiny bit. It's been stuck kind of in the 550, 560 range, and it's up a little bit now. OMG, 436. Same tiny little lip happening right there. So you can just see in perspective, there is plenty of room to growth for most of these before they hit anywhere close to what they've done in the past. And that's exactly where, I mean, now is the time to enter the market. I'm telling you, if you're looking for any confidence instillment, anything to boost that confidence. But I mean, look at this. Raven, it's just, I knew that there was something about it that just seemed like it was a great project and people really stand behind it, believe it. Just like Phoenix, the Red Pulse Phoenix, which is really about China-related business. They're about being a real information sector on everything happening in China's buzz of business. This is definitely more than I expected. I thought it was amazing when it broke 1,000, amazing when it broke 1,200, amazing when it broke 1,300. And since I've been working on technical stuff and getting set up for the market watch, it just went shooting on by. Look at this. I mean, this is the 1,100 breach. This is the 1,300 breach, and we got in somewhere around here. It was really nerve-wracking, and we did well, and it just kept going. Look at that. That's amazing. It deserves a double take. It truly does. BTT, welcome to 20 where you live. People are so gangbusters on this one, and maybe it's coming up. Maybe that thing that they're watching for is right around the corner. I certainly hope so for everybody that went in 27 and higher, because that's just a lot of coin, man. That's a lot of Bitcoins that could be in the marketplace, that are all just camping out here. Yep, you're not doing anything for liquidity by having hundreds of Bitcoins sitting in BTT. But there's such a huge expectation for this. I gotta assume that people know something about what they're talking about. So I don't understand having 200 Bitcoin just parked at 120, 18, 39, 80. These are all ginormous numbers compared to anything else we see in any other coins. So somebody may have, well, I mean, there hasn't ever existed this amount in it yet. So these are people that have hundreds of Bitcoins that they can afford to put in ridiculously high positions. They're expecting it to do this. If it does it, I hope that that's the case. I'm hoping for you guys. Don't like the idea of circulation not being able to go into the rest of the market. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean. ZEC. Doing some interesting spikes up here. I'll come back to reality. Well, actually, I'm kind of curious. Nope, nothing huge up there. Nothing big. So 588 Bitcoin 24-hour volume is a big deal for ZEC. Haven't seen a whole lot of that going on. You can see, look at this. Here's that huge spike in volume. So something that I want you to understand, you, the Archangel Alts, Gordon Freeman followers, are going to be the ones that know this. You're not going to know this if you don't follow us. But something to understand is that when Bitcoin goes low in volume, it doesn't mean that people are just selling their Bitcoin to go trade it to altcoins or to hodl altcoins. There's an electronic, calculative, mathematicalized combination. There's a connection in the math between Bitcoin and every coin that trades against it. Blockchain to blockchain, yes, it is flowing through the private keys of a centralized exchange, one that has shown themselves to be trustworthy thus far, has handled tech support and technical issues like a champ, better than your local bank for sure. No question about that. Any problems that I've had, they have improved with tech support tremendously. And you've got to imagine that, we've done thousands of trades through here, and I keep an eyeball on the before and after of all of this stuff. So when there's that shift from volume, from price, value, and liquidity between altcoins and Bitcoin, everything that happens to Bitcoin has a direct one-to-one ratio effect on the altcoins. So if they are lower and lower and lower in value, they have one level of sensitivity depending on the volume and Bitcoin's price, all the way up to the most valuable, the Litecoins and Ethereums and XRPs, and higher, things that are in the fewest digits after the decimal. Let's say, I'm just looking right now. Oh, yeah, we'll just go by 24-hour change. I mean, it's different every time. It certainly is. Like, here we go, ZEC, we're just talking about that. It's a $57 coin. And it really is picking up its pace a bit there. That's pretty cool. Something at this value is going to shift at a different rate than something of this value. So you can see that it's spiking according to the same things, but you see different movement as a result because of the value. So if this were starting to get pumped or circulated more in relation, you would see a different response. There's a sensitivity there. So it's not just the actual trading activity, it's the actual value versus volume versus Bitcoin's value versus Bitcoin's volume. And no, it doesn't matter whatever combination, if you're doing Ethereum and fiat, or Ethereum and one of the stable coins, or Ethereum and Bitcoin, or Litecoin and Ethereum, or whatever combination. Trust me, they are all locked to what Bitcoin is doing. So there's this buzzword out there about decoupling. Well, we're going to overtake Bitcoin so that we're not so susceptible to how it trades. Well, okay, I can understand that on one level, but Bitcoin is more than half the market, and it's been doing this for a decade. So, hopefully, if we don't want to see something else overtaking it, being because of any perceived weaknesses in Bitcoin, because that's bad for the entire market. Trust me, the market's not ready for somebody to pounce on Bitcoin in a negative light. Okay, not a good time for that. So now let's shift over to volume. ADA at the top of the list. Oh my goodness, it's still holding in the 1500, 1600. I think we have one that'll reach 2000, somewhere around there in our browser. Raven, just unbelievable, off the charts. Going to see if we can get in on one of these two guys again. 8,000 BTC 24-hour volume, 7,000 BTC 24-hour volume. This kind of range at this kind of value is like the sweet spot. It is the perfect balance. Anything from these 3 units up to about 500. So like literally from about 150 to, I would say, about 500. And then anything from that really needs to wait until it's in the thousands. This 1,000 up to really 17, 18, 1900. These guys are getting close to where they might start spiking into a different value again. Unbelievable. And IOSD, oh, you tricky one. It snuck its way up. It has made it in its range since we've been watching it recently while we cleared all of our positions 3 different times. We watched it struggle from 187 to 197 to 199, crossing that 200. It went up to 226. And then it kind of steadied back down just below 200. So we kind of kept an eye on it. And look at that. 6,000 BTC 24-hour volume. Check me out, you know. So this was an excellent range in here. Unfortunately, we were not able to just, you know, kind of pace our way into those positions. There's that climb. Look at that. So this was way too risky for anybody to play with. But this was just, you know, classic, wonderful, fantastic, amazing. We will be keeping a sharp eye on this stuff. Try to really accelerate the number of positions we can show you. I'm going to have to do it by laying some signals in there. I'll do some free and some paid because it's just hard to keep up with so many different things trying to go into our launch now. ZIL, really interesting. It's been doing some cool stuff. It's got 1,000 BTC 24-hour volume. So here's what we want to see, guys. We want to see, really we'd like to see Ethereum be in its normal position. 9,000 BTC 24-hour volume has been healthy for Ethereum recently, but it's really not enough for it to be healthy. We want to see it really kind of live around 15,000 BTC 24-hour volume. That's the amount of trading to where I can see it having the liquidity that it needs. The BCH, ABC, and SV, they are what they are. They're, in my opinion, a little bit overvalued where they are. But since they are, SV is not quite as valuable per coin. But in order for them to be healthy, they really need to be around 12 to 14,000 BTC 24-hour volume. Tron, I honestly don't know whether BTT is going to spread Sun's attention on Tron between BTT and Tron, or whether he cares about the entire network to the point where a lot of attention will continue on that. BNB, whether it continues to rise or not, we could see any combination happen there. But remember that it is something that you can use to pay for your fees. We actually have a few positions set just very low, just as a placeholder for some of our coins, still not using everything in circulation yet. IOST, yeah, just amazing. But BNB coin, I'm looking at this, and if it continues to rise, you have to also keep in mind that if you're using it to pay your fees, then it costs more to do that now here than when it was here. So this was 0014, and now we're at 0039. So that is more than double since the end of last year, just last December. Pretty incredible. Guys, the market is starting to perk up. The thing is that we need to see the wings start to flap on Bitcoin. Bitcoin coming up is going to do remarkable things for these. So what I would like to see, here's Gordon Freeman's ideal vision for a healthy marketplace, where the highest coins are steadily circulating with a 20,000 to 50,000 BTC 24-hour volume. Would like to see maybe 7 or 8 coins be able to share that at any given time, all the time. Steadily having Ethereum, Litecoin, and XRP somewhere towards the top, always at least at 12,000 BTC 24-hour volume. And then within the mid-performing range, that there is at least 5,000 BTC for another 10, 15 coins. And then as we get to the smaller ones, they're circulating the never less than 200 or 300 BTC. That is what I would like to see be able to circulate within the market all the time. So XRP has been doing pretty much what it does. Ain't no big thing. If it goes a little bit down, it's not a big deal. If it goes a little bit up, not a big deal. Recently, 4,000 BTC 24-hour volume is a healthy normal. It's just over the bigger picture. You've heard me say what I'm saying, so I think its normal should be at least 12 to 15,000 in that range. We're getting so close to starting to clear out some of our other ONT positions, Ontology coin. So this was a really big deal in here. It's showing a little bit of weakening through here, but I mean, still, anything above 2,700 even is good for it. Yeah, 2,700. So as far as volume goes, it's hovering around 2,000 BTC, which is still, I mean, in current terms, it's still really good. It's not bad at all. Just want to see it be able to do a little bit better. XLM, nothing really remarkable to say there. ENJ, Engine Coin, had its huge spike up here. It's kind of doing the same thing. We see this slight weakening over here, but it's okay, especially considering that Bitcoin is still hovering around the $69 million range. So guys, something is going to continue to shift. It's not just like money coming out of Bitcoin into altcoins. It is the actual value between the two. Something will dramatically shift up or down. I'm not saying that as a prediction, saying Bitcoin is definitely guaranteed to stay where it is, go down or go up. You know, I promise. And then I'm going to play this back depending on which of those three things it does. What I'm telling you is that whenever it gets this low in volume, it cannot maintain here. Either it will weaken and start to drag down, in which case people get scared and everything starts to go down and the calculations just go in that favor, or you know, somebody's waiting until it reaches a certain point to start pumping it up. If that happens, unfortunately, usually that means $10, $20, $30, $40, $50 very quickly, and we will see a huge drop in the altcoin value if that's the case. If that isn't the case, then the longer that it sits at this value, at this volume, things are going to get really spiky. And it looks to me like it is probably things more in this 4 unit. And I'm looking at, there's 8 units after the decimal, okay? Right now in this 1100 to 1900 range seems like it is able to gather the most momentum. And I would imagine that's bound to be slowing down a little bit. Yeah, so we're coming down a little bit on these guys. Don't know about BNB. BNB can do whatever it kind of wants to at this point, it seems. So I would expect things to be a tiny bit flat, but be watching what's happening with the Bitcoin volume compared to Tether. That is the one that you need to keep your eye on. I don't care what your feelings are about how good or bad Tether is. It is numbers that are accurate, telling you the information that you need to know. So if you want to be good at trading, that's what you should have your eye on. You should be on Binance. You should be watching BTC compared to Tether. If it goes crashing and burning tomorrow and the "see I told you so" started lining up, that's not the point at all. Something needs to take its place for the health of the market. I don't really care what that thing is. I'm not loyal to it, but I am loyal to the numbers and caring what they mean about stuff. Phoenix is holding in the 300 range, and that's really good. We've got some very higher positions from the browser, some very early stuff. And this is one of those that I kind of have had the same feeling about Phoenix that I've had about Ravencoin. So Phoenix, Red Pulse Phoenix, hoping that it might start to get its same resurgence. Obviously, these were cool. We cleared out of all of our regular positions, and then we had these old holds from the browser that were there from months back, and we'll wait that out. Theta, very interesting, been doing some very good activity here, so keep an eye on it. Its volume is really low in comparison to what it's been doing, and I want to do the right thing, go and check Steam once again. I'll cover REN and RAQ and a few of those others in our next market watch. Not a necessity right now. So just a little bit more of this stuff. And, oh, I'm going in the wrong direction. I see. Okay, here we are. So 1169, not too terribly bad. I would like to see a lot more sharp movement. This was really good. This 1400-ish, this 14,000-ish range right here was really good for Steam. Steam is one of those great grassroots, ground level, real crypto revolution, real community building things going on. I'm definitely going to be talking more about it and talking to some of my friends that I've made that are a part of that. I'm just really excited to see that. Looks like SNGLS singles, I think it's Singularity Coin, is coming to consolidating, narrowing where we see the real average and median coming together with this average, this moving average, and the VWAP, the volume as it is weighted against the price, are all coming together in this super narrow range. So I would expect a breakout very soon, sometime in the next day. Singles is either going to, maybe break below the 399, or it could spike. I mean, it could absolutely go up. It went 525 the last time. It could do 430, 440 the next time. Right now, it's not doing a very wide range at all. All right, guys. So that is it for now. Thank you so much for joining. And we are bound to be doing some trading. I will try to hit the live trading. Just need to make sure that we have healthy positions for Archangel Alts, and we can lead you through that process. Keep an eye on us. Subscribe, ring the bell, thumbs up, comment. Come join us. Go to that link that you see. Go and register, and we'll make sure that you are part of everything. So thank you so much for joining Archangel Alts. And for now, Gordon Freeman and Archangel Alts out.